Good evening. Welcome all to today's session on digital discipline. Basically, like our counselor today, Navina, is going to focus on ways in which we can bring in this kind of habit in our day to day life where we are able to use the digital space available to us in a healthy way, which is most needed for our mental health. And I think this session is going to provide us new insights, through new insights, and help us to frame a structure in which we can utilize the technical space in a healthy form, rather than it sometimes being a kind of hindrance or challenge to our physical health and our mental health. Yeah, I give it on to Navina to introduce herself and then to go ahead with her presentation. Yeah, Navina.
Thank you, ma'am. I am Navina. I'm a counselor and workshop facilitator. I've completed my bachelor's in psychology and masters of social work in clinical and community practice. So today I'm here to talk about digital discipline and how do we reclaim our focus in a distracted world in today's age. Okay. Firstly, I'd like you to um, drop in the chat box about how do you complete this sentence. That my phone was taking control of me when what activity were you doing when you realized that you really wanted to change your behavior?
Just a second. I just want to clarify with the others if Navina's
Yes,
voice is clear to you. If it's clear to you, please put a thumbs up. If
yes.
Navina's voice
Mhm.
is clear to you, please put a thumbs up. Okay, then it's audible to the others. Please go ahead.
Okay, okay, ma'am. So I'd like to know, or you could say, why did you join this session? Over the chat, or you can speak. Okay. Um, okay, it takes my time in Instagram. Okay. All of us are facing that right now. Yeah. Yeah, so we do not realize time, we do not realize how much energy is going on along with this doom scrolling and everything. So there are many other behaviors that we'll be discussing further where we where we really need to seek professional help if it is going beyond a limit. So with that, I'll more focus on the why is it being non-negotiable. So digital discipline is required because it is creating a lot of emotional turbulence among individuals when the information is completely mixed and there is no connection between either of the content you're watching in the algorithm of Instagram or anything where there is no specific motive for us to watch or certain things. That is when the user design is also created in such a way that we are hooked in it. We are taking longer, or we try to purchase the item that they are doing their job correctly, but the victims over here are the users, right? So basically, that user design is becoming manipulative day by day. So we need to be informed as users as to how healthily can we take forward things, because we cannot fight the internet right now. We can only learn to live with it. So another thing is that functional impairment. Basically, it is where you are not able to function every day, or maybe in certain aspects of everyday activities. It could be maybe hygiene, it could be maybe um, where you are not able to do your work properly, or you are isolating yourself from your general friends, your family circle, all of that, because of the lack of digital discipline. Then there is digital presence, which is basically these days we all are having to have a self branding or self promotion required in the digital world, because you people need to know your product, your service, or maybe it could be even for business. You might need to do it. So due to the same reason, you're taking longer hours in a day, and your energy is basically being depleted. So this is an unavoidable reality. But then where digital discipline is coming is that we don't completely engage for productive work, but here and there, the user design is in such a way that time is being drained out here and there. There's a lot of loopholes, time leaks that are happening where we can actually intervene. So there is superficial communication these days where we don't know what to talk after a point. We are not able to have a meaningful connection towards people. Then we have a gradual decline in empathy level, or maybe we are becoming more numb. We are becoming more, less patient, because imagine the kind of fastness or the kind of control that we have over the content. So we try to have the same control even in the real life, which is not possible, right? It's a two world being fighting, which is happening, and then there is a blurring of personal boundaries, which is a very huge thing where we can see a lot of messages come in without trigger warning over the internet. Maybe it can be sexual violence, or maybe um, very disturbing images, disturbing movies. All of these might be put out without any trigger warning. So basically, we do not have any boundary, or people might be texting anything without your consent. So these things are basically being here and there normalized in such a way that we are not able to maintain boundary, or it is affecting us without our knowledge. So as day passes by, and then there is reduced comprehension. Children these days are not able to understand things what are happening in real life, or maybe in their classes, what kind of problems are happening around them. They're not able to comprehend what is happening or what is being taught. Then there is no reflection, be it adults or teenagers or children, because we keep engaging in digital media that we do not reflect quite often. Maybe it cannot be generalized, but here and there we are reducing our level of reflection uh, as things get, quite normalized here and there. Then there is normalization of distraction, which is basically when you go visit your, family or any a friend, everybody is just on phone. So this has become the new normal, but that is not how it has to be, right? All of us have to be talking, have disagreements, but that's not happening. Instead, what's happening is that your grandparent has phone, your child has phone, your friend has phone. Nobody's talking, or nobody's meeting eye, not having an eye contact or so. So there is no proper communication that's happening. Everybody is just in their own world, distracted, right? Then there is interruptions in your routine constantly, where we have the accessibility that we have right now. Phone is in our hands. So, like basically it's like a substance in your hand, like alcohol or cigarette or whatever it is. It's just very accessible that we are getting into it quite often, all of that. So there is the attention level has also decreased. Then there is social comparison, where we constantly keep comparing our lives with others. Then we have performative culture, which is basically you're trying to, uh, like basically you're trying to reach up to a level where you think it might be your passion, but you later realize that it's not your passion, or maybe it's not the kind of career that you want. And but then that was somebody else's. This was basically hidden in the internet agenda or so, where we have been trained in such a way that this is the next step. a conditioning, basically a conditioning, and then we end up realizing that this was not my goal in the first place. So just to avoid all of these is why we require digital discipline. So what are the types of technology-based behavioral addictions? Social media, gaming, pornography, online shopping. We have a lot of information overload where we doom scroll. Then we have smartphone dependence, then taking a lot of selfies. But this can be differing from person to person as to what extent is their life being impaired, their functionality. Then there's over reliance of AI chatbots assistants. Basically, you would have heard the new lot of news where having seeking therapy via ChatGPT or Gemini, the new Gen AI tools to solve your problems, to take small decisions. Basically, you're not allowing yourself to think critically. We'll discuss that further. Then comes the root causes. So, what are the general causes behind any behavioral addiction? When it comes to brain chemistry, basically your brain reward system is being affected um, through constant exposure to the internet algorithms, and which is designed specifically to keep you hooked. Then we have impulse control. When, let's say, the online groceries right now, when you think you can get any product, right? It's all in our fingertips. So the brain reward system is being tuned in such a way that we need instant gratification. Then comes genetic vulnerability, where it's basically your family medical history of any sort of behavioral addiction that is running in the family. Then comes psychological factors, any unresolved trauma, chronic stress, anxiety, depression, loneliness within the individual, which is masking as in the name of problematic internet use. Then social and environmental influences. This is one of the main major form specifically to internet addiction, where we have early exposure to internet. So if it's been 15 to 20 years of different forms of tech, children have been really children are using internet quite early on, from teenage to toddlers. Everybody are being exposed quite early on. That it becomes part of their life, and it's very difficult to come out of it. Although we know it's as harmful as any substance. Then there is, peer behavior. Basically, if every other friend is having WhatsApp at the age of 12, let me also have, or maybe a phone, purchase a phone for me because every other friend has that. Or maybe it could be having an Instagram very quite early on than the underage children having Instagram account, or without parental control. We don't know the kind of media that is being exposed to the child. Then there is social pressure to behave in a certain way, or to carry forward oneself in a certain way. All of these are negative influences from the society or their environment. Then comes the lack of purpose. So we don't know what to do next. So basically, we just keep engaging in a harmful habit that we don't realize that what is the consequences, because there is nothing else to the routine, or there are things to do, but the priority is not given because the person is feeling lack of purpose. um, when there are no goals, the person would not feel like moving forward with the productive work. Then there is lack of stability in relationships or their work. That is when somebody engages in an addiction. Then there is behavioral conditioning. Just because you have been doing it for a long time, you keep engaging with it, and you keep engaging with it because there is a pleasure or a reward that is given. Like, let's say you feel a relief, you feel the kind of um, emotion that you don't sense from any other relationship in real life. So you replace it with the internet. So these are the root causes behind uh, internet addiction or in general. Then we have consequences of problematic internet use, feeling very stressed, anxious, or having very low mood, feeling very numb, or feeling irritable when you are trying to connect offline, when you're with your family, when you're with your work colleagues or so. You feel very numb. You feel like, why am I here? Or maybe um, I would rather go and engage online than sit with them. Things like that, because we have glorified, or we have been liking the internet gratification over human connections. Then there is cognitive and physical effects. Basically, any pain that is caused due to the posture, or maybe you've been engaging digitally for a longer time, that your sleep has gone down, your appetite has gone down, or you've been straining your eye, you've been feeling more fatigued. Your basically your biological rhythm has gone um, irregular. Then there is social academic work impact. Basically, any your studies or your workplace is also being affected due to your internet usage, where you are not able to do the work, or you are having low performance. Although you're working, there is not up to the mark that you used to do. You already set the benchmark, but you're not able to reach that benchmark like earlier, because you've been using internet quite longer, or maybe in a very harmful way. Then decline in academic, yeah, I've covered that. Behavioral and lifestyle patterns, loss of control over time spent online. So basically, we intend to change it, but we are not able to change it. Then there is neglect of hobbies, responsibilities, or self-care. So if you need to buy groceries for the day, but you don't go, you skip it because you want to doom scroll. Or it's not about negativizing the behaviors, but this is how people are struggling these days. So nobody's here to judge. Yeah. So self-care also is being, disrupted. Your basic hygiene, or maybe some people do sitting upright for 12 hours, 10 hours straight, without eating
Ravina, could
food,
you please check your signal? You're stuck.
without eating food, gaming. This
Ravina,
is
you're
like the extreme level of addiction, severe level of addiction towards gaming, or the protective and distracted. Basically,
Ravina, are you able to hear me?
can you hear me, ma'am?
Ravina, your image was just stuck. Your visual was stuck and your voice was breaking. Kindly check on the internet.
Okay. Okay. One second. Hello, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yeah, Ravina. Please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Shall I proceed? Yeah, yeah. How long was I audible? Okay. Mhm. Just a second. Yeah. So protective and Protective and risk factors. So basically, protective factors are factors that will help us not get into the severe level of addiction, and risk factors are basically the factors that will not put us into in a very harmful situation. That will actually put into harmful situation. So protective factors is that um, you are having family, friends outside this internet world that you've created for yourself, or you have a lot of daily routine which is purposeful. You have intentionally created the daily routine, or you have quite a bit of digital literacy that you know where does the time go, where are these time leaks that are happening. Then we have engagement in meaningful offline activities, basically any hobby or any work, being productive, or maybe having a passion project. You have meaningful activities to keep you engaged that you wouldn't actually get engaged digitally for longer than needed. Then we have risk factors. What puts you into risk is that isolating yourself, or maybe you might be already doing it. Then being impulsive, maybe you want to purchase things, but you don't have the budget, but you still go over the step, although it's the last week of the month or so. So you are taking impulsive decisions. Um, then there is unstructured time. Basically, you don't have a routine. Your workplace is quite flexible. So because of the lack of structure, you are put into risk of addiction. Then using the internet mainly to escape real life or maybe your problems, where the channel is being used completely to not feel any emotions, or maybe live an imaginary life in the internet world. But this is not something to be feeling shameful about, but rather we can educate ourselves and work on it. Then we have when to seek professional help. So basically, when you need to seek professional help is when you lose control. You are intending to change, but you're not able to change the behavior. Uh, Maybe it can be the time, it can be the frequency of usage, or maybe it can be the sort of activity attached to the internet behavior. Then it can be your daily routine is not being quite managed well. Then we have work or studies being impaired. Then we have emotional dependence. Basically, to feel a sort of emotion, maybe to feel a little better, you might listen to certain songs. Or to feel a little better, you might go, or to escape, as I mentioned earlier, you go watch YouTube videos, all of that. Then we have withdrawal symptoms. So, withdrawal is nothing but when you're trying to not do an activity which you are almost addicted to, you feel um, heavy emotions, maybe like anger, sadness, irritability, um, unexplained. All of this unexplained. You don't know why you're doing it, but these are the reasons because you're trying to refrain from doing something that you used to do on a regular basis. Then you have developed tolerance. Basically, if you've been watching reels for like let's say 2 3 hours continuously, um, and then you felt a level of satisfaction. But then right now you're having to watch maybe 5 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours at a stretch, or binge watch a lot of series, then feel the level of satisfaction, or probably you feel more fatigued. But your level of tolerance towards the kind of stimulation is nothing but by the media. So you've reached to a point that 2 hours of internet usage is not enough for me, or a harmful behavior using the internet. Neglect of self-care, as we discussed earlier, any hygiene or maybe, appetite, anything, anything not being fulfilled for yourself. Then we have guilt or secrecy attached to the internet behavior. So basically, nobody knows that we are maybe engaging in a certain activity. It can be gaming or pornography or so, anything which is having a lot of secrecy attached to it, or maybe feeling guilty for what you're doing. That is when you can seek professional help. Okay. So now I would like you to note down three digital habits or apps that you use most often, and then three goals that truly matter to you in life. Then after that, you should ask yourself how many of these digital activities actually supports you in achieving those goals, or even does it even reflect the values that you actually have. So this is an activity that will help you. You can take a screenshot if time doesn't problem. We can even discuss this later. I'll just pause for a bit for screenshot. Yeah. So this activity is basically to have awareness before change, as the title suggests. Basically, to have some level of understanding as to where is the time going, and also why do you need to change the behavior. If you don't know the why behind why you need to, I mean, the behind the digital discipline requirement, then there is no um, next step that will be taken, right? Then comes, okay. So here are some lists in case if nobody responds. I thought I'll have a slide. So basically, these can be the online behaviors that we need not do, but we are engaging in it. Or maybe we can reduce the level of engagement in these activities, like being online more than being offline, or maybe saying just I'll do 5 more minutes of scrolling, but it goes on for 5 hours or so, or having lifestyles of others being tracked, or maybe having online gaming. You're skipping meals. You're not how do I say it? You're commenting, or maybe you're looking into how many likes you've got after posting, or this is going on for longer times. These are things that everybody do, but then are you how what's the frequency, and how long are you doing? uh, or maybe gathering knowledge. So there are people who keep watching motivational videos, but they don't act. They're not able to act because basically you're telling the brain that you've achieved something. So it's a very false sense of um, trick where motivational videos will make you feel fulfilled that you actually did something. But until you act in real life, um, there is not going to be any result. So let's not just stop with knowledge, but let's also start acting on whatever motivational content that you're watching, or gathering any sort of knowledge, research, work related, business related, anything. Start acting on what you are consuming. Don't just consume a lot, but also start acting on it. Then we have, you can take a screenshot of this just to have as a reference where you, you can avoid these behaviors. And then this adds on to the routine. I'll also give you some digital habits, positive digital habits, which will help you. Alongside this, these are the behaviors that you should refrain or you should try to reduce. Okay. So another activity is that you can take screenshot maybe, like basically divide your 24 hours and see where is your time actually going. Genuinely, just be honest to yourself. Nobody else has to see it. Um, So basically, any what is the time that you sleep? Or maybe some of you might not be sleeping from 12 to 3, as mentioned here. Are you watching reels or all of that, or anything, any sort of activity? At what time do you exactly do? And then replace it with another habit, another positive hobby, or any other action, offline action, not online but offline. Try to reduce in that way. Or if your business or workplace or studies do not permit, try to see where are the time leaks. Time leaks is nothing but you don't know where is the time going. That is the reason why we have a daily routine analysis. Then these are the positive habits that we can form. There are a couple of them. I'll run through some of them. You can take screenshots. I do not mind. Yeah. So no screen for the first 30 minutes after you wake up. This is a very good method to follow, and also before bed as well. Then for work. So many people who are working, they find it really difficult to manage without getting into Instagram and start scrolling, all of that. These concerns are generally expressed. So for them, 25 minutes of deep work. Deep work is nothing but you are entering into a flow state where you don't use your phone for that 25 minutes and then take a break, scroll for 5 minutes, then immediately get to the next 25 minutes slot. Then we have emails. So many of them say that my time keeps going when I answer emails. So have some slots specifically assigned to your schedule where you answer emails only for that 1 hour or half an hour. If and this also changes from person to person as to their level of tasks and frequency required. So all of these habits will be having to be tailored as per your schedule. Some of us might be having flexible days. Some of us might not be having, quite flexible. It might be rather rigid. So please do apply accordingly. There is no activity to be generalized here. Not everything works for everyone. So yeah, phone-free meals. This is something that I think everybody can do. Don't use your phone while you are having meals. If you are sitting for 10, 15 minutes or longer, please don't use your phone. Maybe rather talk to people, or if you don't have the habit of talking to people, please try to mindfully sit down and eat. Try to chew with mindfulness, uh, and try to feel the taste. Try to feel how your body is reacting. All of this keeps you grounded. So having phone-free meals is something that will help you. These are for people who specifically saying you don't have time to switch off offline. So such small breaks also matters. Then we have one task, one screen rule. Basically, many of us might have multiple tabs open, and then we are not able to do one task. We might try to keep jumping from this activity to that activity. So in order to avoid that, keep one task and at least 2, 3 tabs open just for your requirement. Then we have, basically prioritize when you are going to be available. You need not be available 24/7. If you are available for 24/7, what happens is that you are drained. And then maybe after a point, you might not be even able to contribute. So better try to check with them later as to when you can respond, or maybe assign it to somebody. If you can afford a personal assistant, please assign it to them. Or if you can assign it to your peer, please let them do that. And do not take work more than assigned, which is having to use internet. So having slots as to what app to use when, these things will also help. Then no notification slot. Basically, not use looking at the phone for any notifications during your work or your during your break time, or it could be during your studies. Then we have conscious scrolling. Basically, you are scrolling anyway. This is something that we are not going to immediately stop. So until then, try to consciously scroll as to do it gradually. Don't keep um, endlessly, aimlessly scroll. Instead, try to stop the behavior consciously. Now that at least for this 1 week, you will remember attending this session that I need to change something about it. So start small. You should try to consciously consume the information. When you feel any tiredness, please stop. Then no screen zones at your home. Basically, assign rooms for work if you can afford to. If you can have a rest corner, if it's a 1 hour period, please have a rest corner, journaling corner, or maybe to the dinner table, I do not take my phone. All of this, like try to have a physical separation for your brain to understand that when I'm here, I'll not use my phone. When I'm here, I will use my phone only consciously for my work or maybe for family connections, all of that. So have physical separation. Then we need to find things to do offline. Where time is going will matter in long term. So as we discussed the consequences, we need to really start finding what are the possible ways to engage offline. Then we have practicing 60 seconds of stillness. Stillness is basically maybe can be any sort of meditative activity that you can do between each task. Maybe closing your eyes or maybe looking at a, as the next pointer says, looking at a coconut tree that is like 60 feet away, 20 feet away, um, just to look at it and then take back your attention towards the screen. This helps with your eye strain and also with your um, basically it is helping you to detach from the kind of emotions that keep boiling up during your work. So it's a reset. It's a mini reset that you have between your tasks before you get very overwhelmed with the task. Then three main apps. Having any three main apps in your home page or three or five as per your need, any important alone, and try to make sure that you actually use it only as required. And this will help you to kind of cut down certain apps that we do not even require, but we still keep engaging. Some of them struggle with online purchasing. So those apps can be either deleted or not put in the home page and refrain from using it. Then we have no music or calls or basically not engaging with phone while you are commuting. So some of them while traveling, they are with headphones or on or so. So these things might actually it causes accidents in the first place, but also slowly we are trying learning how to get distracted even while doing the most major task of driving, right? Or driving, or let it be anything. Even if you are a passenger, you really need to envision uh, the beauty around all of that. This is a reset. This is also again a reset from your online life. Then we have trying to meet people than texting them, calling them um, for a longer time if it's feasible. Then we have, as we said before bed, try not to scroll. Instead, you can read, you can reflect, you can take rest. You can try muscle relaxation techniques. Then we have journaling. This is really important where you track down what is the number. Every phone will have app usage pattern, screen app usage pattern. This will be available in settings. So look at that and where is the time going? Which app is the time going with longer than required? What is the frequency? How many times are you? You'll be very surprised to see how many times are you opening your phone. It could be 150 times, 50 times for some people. Um, Look at how much have you reduced post the session after a week or so, after trying to implement two, three strategies of these. Then pausing and reflecting before any sort of activity that you're going to do online. Can be trying to comment on somebody, or it can be trying to endlessly scroll, or it can be even posting online. Look at how your mental health and of others' mental health as well, keeping that in check. Then we have unlocking mindfully only if necessary. Basically, most of us might just open and off your phone or devices simply. You don't know what to do next. So these are time time that passes by, and also these are impulses that we really need to control, which nobody really talks about. You're basically training to normalize internet these micro habits to be normal, but it's harmful in long run. Like, let's say a person walks into a room and they feel really awkward. They start looking at the phone. Most of us might be already doing looking at the phone and pretending as if a call is coming. All of this is basically making us not we are not empowered. We are rather putting us down, that we're not facing the situation, right? So, in order to face the situation, we really need to change these micro habits of trying to finding comfort with our phones. Then comes what is something that could be done for professionals mainly. Try to prioritize which work has to be done when. Like basically, is it very urgent that you really need to put attention to it? or can you schedule it for later, or can you give it to somebody else because it is not that important, or can you skip it for now and maybe engage with it later? You can have these slots of free time, and that during that time you can just shift the tasks. So having slots really help you. And that's all from my side. So the goal is not abstinence, and it is agency. Basically, Kimberly Young, say she's a psychologist who first found out internet could be a source of addiction in 1998. This is the age of cyber cafes. So during that time, also people were beginning to get addicted. So she says this quote where we are not trying to cut off technology completely. We need to learn to live with it. Also, it is in our hands. Agency means basically you're taking ownership of your own life. So thank you all. If you have anything to add, please go ahead.
Those who have any questions or you want to give a feedback about your takeaway today, your understanding today, please go ahead. Yes, Abhilasha, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. Thank you so much for the wonderful session, ma'am. It was so nice. And of course, it's like self-realization part. Yes, internet is getting more frequent, and sometimes it's like we are not able to avoid it. A few situations, but yes, true. It's not so healthy for us and for our mental health also. So we should be consciously using it and be an example for people who are watching us. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was nice.
So thank you, Navina. It was very elaborate. So to add on from my practice, what I have seen is generally people who come for this kind of too much of gadget usage and kind of problems are mostly the age group is children, school students being brought by parents in many cases, because as adults I don't see many adults coming forward and saying that I'm into this kind of an addiction or I'm using it too much. So that's a different thing. I'll come to that topic. So initially students like uh, I think many of these cases, as you explained, started during that COVID period where they did not have an exposure to the real world. They had an only option was the virtual world. So being engaged in that, after that, like when you come out of a certain thing that is giving you a kind of a hype, or it's like become a habit to you because of the comfort it's giving you, some children were able to adapt to the normal schooling, but some found it very difficult to get out of that kind of excessive usage and then come to this normalcy. And that even exists now, no? And not only COVID but also the development of technology and the different kind of exciting apps, and there's lack of rules and regulations in certain apps where even a kid can create an id and just log in, join in, and the usage is very easy, and it is easily learned by children, and as you rightly explained, even toddlers. And when we look into the lifestyle of a few adults who come for counseling, it is mostly like kind of excessive porn addiction. So I have nothing to do. I have a lot of boredom, so I'm just watching it. Or like as you mentioned, distraction. I'm using it as a distraction from my stress. And because some get into this kind of porn addiction, they get into masturbation addiction as well. So that we have seen. And when we take the people who are senior citizens, the retired people, there's a lot of YouTube addiction because some may not know how to use certain apps like Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat or whatever. But YouTube is something which is easily accessible. So all day throughout, looking on scrolling things and watching videos, and most of the stuff is not healthy stuff which is being promoted. It is about people having affairs or something about celebrity news. That person ran away with this person. This person killed the other person because the person was in affair with his wife or her husband. Such kind of news they keep on hearing, and sometimes it becomes to the addiction is to the extent that even if the spouse or someone needs help or they're calling them, they're not responding to it but sticking on to the phone. These are certain kind of challenges that we are addressing these days. So if any of you have any of your experiences, you too can share. You can share your experiences, or you can just give a few words about your takeaway for today's session of what we learned from, what new insights we got from what Navina explained to us. Anyone? All right. Yeah, Navina. So, would you like to share a few words about your exposure in your circle as a youngster? What kind of impact do you think that it is creating on the younger generation or the students? What do you feel?
And on a personal level, I think there's a lot of peer comparison that's not societal comparison that's um, it has become quite normalized, which I'm not able to resist. That well, certain things should not be really how do I say, encouraged, but because it has been how do I say, basically the level of frequency or the kind of media that has not having any boundary. The boundary is just vanishing as days pass by. The murder scenes or maybe suicidal scenes or maybe any graphic content. The other day I saw how a child is being aborted. Somebody put it on WhatsApp status. I was like, how can you do that? There is no trigger warning,
Yes.
nothing. What if that person on the other end is really sensitive or actually has been undergoing an abortion? So people are not having a sense of boundary. So the kind of there's a lot of topic going on based on digital boundaries and things like that. So I think really it's quite important to address um, and this whole AI deep fake and everything, that's also getting more scarier. So we cannot fight technology, but we need to really learn how to use it with awareness
Exactly.
and yeah, use it to empower each other rather than pull down each other as well, and not try to harm and always pausing before uploading any content. And also because of this whole internet addiction or problematic internet use, there's a lot of relationships that is being affected. Either it can be friends or family. So although we might be thinking that we are just scrolling in a day, ultimately when this thing is going on for days and days, it's your relationship that is not getting attention to. Yeah, there is another person on the receiving end who's not getting enough attention. So we need to really be mindful about all of these things and act with mindfulness and awareness.
Definitely. So, as the topic says, it's about digital discipline, and as responsible individuals, we have a bigger role to play in this to help ourselves first and the people around us, especially the vulnerable population, that is, children, senior citizens, whoever needs help and whoever is feeling lonely are the people who keep juggling over and sticking on more to the internet. And of course, we also use it, but sometimes it's unavoidable. We use it for professional purposes. If that is going to be constructive to us, it's going to be useful to us, then that's fine. Even for children, they can use it for various things to gather information on science, technology, whatever information they need, if information for their projects. Yeah, instead of just watching motivational video, try to put in. Okay, fine. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. So yeah, if anyone has further queries to Navina, you can put on the slide where people can get in touch with you. Yeah, thank you, people. Thank you, Navina. Navina, please put on the slide so that people can get in touch for you if they have further queries on it.
Yes, ma'am, just a second.
I want to thank every participant here for your patience and to listening to us and being part of this session today.
I'm not able to present for some reason. I've dropped
All right.
my phone number on the like.
All right. Thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Navina.
Thank you all for joining. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.